It's Bananza and Bajanza, that's right. We're here at the Nintendo Switch 2 premiere event. Literally right behind this camera is all the kiosks and demo stations and stuff that we just spent the morning playing some games, checking it out.
Dan, you got some hands-on time with a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
You got to check out Metroid Prime 4, Donkey Kong Bananza. What else did you get to check out?
Oh boy, so yeah, Metroid, we did the Mario Party. Oh, Mario Kart, of course.
Yes, oh right, yes. Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, Metroid Prime, Mario Party. They got some other playable stuff here, a lot of like just kind of older games that are ported over to the Switch.
Some third-party stuff as well.
Yeah.
Initial impressions, Dan?
Very strong. There are a couple obvious headliners here, and I'm glad those are the ones we got to play. I guess we start with Mario Kart. That is the killer app. That is the one that is going to sell systems, whether $80, $90, whatever it is.
It looks gorgeous.
It looks incredible, which that should be no surprise. Like ever since like Nintendo went to HD, that art style looks incredible. And like here, just the frame rate and everything is just really good. But just the level of detail in Mario Kart, because like there's more like breadth to these levels now. You know, you're so used to just like, not only did the old ones, they weren't open world the way this one is. They would be, most of them were lap focused, so it's like there were the exceptions. There was like Mount Wario and Rainbow Road where it's like sections of track.
Right.
But with this one, I raced on like 4 different courses, maybe 5 different courses today.
Yeah.
And every one of them was just like, you're not seeing the same stuff twice. It's not repeating it. And that helps too when you're doing the modes where it strings them end to end, like that knockout mode we did.
Yeah.
And it's just like seamlessly goes from area to the next. It's awesome.
It had an obscene amount of characters in it.
Yes.
It had Mariachi Waluigi.
Mariachi Waluigi, who was my first pick, obviously.
Of course.
But the fact that I was even tempted to not start with Waluigi tells you something, because there's Cow.
Yeah, the cow, yes.
You got Burger Butt Toad. You had Arrow Pauline. You had Biker Wario. You had Biker Bowser.
Yes.
You got like a chrome shell, like a blue chrome shell.
But you did pick Mariachi Waluigi, but then you changed outfits mid-level, right?
Yeah, so that was something it seemed like at times like I would eat food and he'd be wearing like a racing gear or something.
Yeah.
But then I also wasn't sure, like in that knockout mode, there'd be areas where it's like as it transitions from one level to the next, like he turned into like Mad Max Waluigi.
Right.
And I assumed that was triggered by the like barrier between the stages.
The areas.
Yeah. But really cool stuff like that we have not seen before in Mario Kart.
No.
Like with 8 and 96 tracks, everyone was like, well, where does it go from here?
Yeah.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
You make it a whole new thing that they haven't done since the Super Nintendo,
And there was another interesting change from the last Mario Kart where you weren't selecting specific parts for your car. It was just like set cars, it looked like.
I like that a lot, because that is the thing where it's like Mario Kart is the great equalizer in terms of like hardcore gamers love it, and also like casual gamers love it. And it's like when you're playing with, you go home for Thanksgiving, you load it up for some family members that don't play a lot of games. You don't want to be like, all right, press the plus button to view your stats, and then like, pick your wheels. Well, the glider does this, and it's just like, no, just pick a car. And I couldn't really tell, because like I picked Bowser at times, and like in the old ones, like on Super Mario Kart, Bowser would have the weight. It was like a weight stat, and I couldn't tell because like there's no visible that I saw stat thing. So I don't know if it's all just like equal with karts, and like obviously maybe the bikes might control differently. But maybe all the bikes have the same stats, all the karts. That I don't know. But I do like that they've simplified that kart selection process.
As of right now, it didn't present any other options for like tilt control specifically, or like the safety rails.
That's another thing when you're picking your thing where it's like there's the 3 things that like it turns on to like the bumper bowling type thing. And it seems to have simplified that in a really smart way.
I wonder how they're gonna like address like the different CCs.
We did it was all of ours were set to 100 cc.
Oh, okay, so maybe just like a global world thing then.
Maybe, or like, if you're playing online, you set the rules to like 100 cc or whatever. So, it's got that 24-player knockout mode thing, which is really cool, because it's like, it starts at 24, and then it tells you, well, you better be in the top 20 when you cross this barrier. And like, racing games have done that before. But it's so cool seeing these other modes, like Forza Horizon style stuff, knockout mode type stuff, coming to Mario Kart.
Speaking about Forza, you were able to rewind a little bit on one of the tracks.
It was in like the lobby before we did the like showdown thing. So I don't know if you can do this. It would be weird to do this in online play, but maybe. You hit like, I think down on the D-pad.
Yeah.
Like, whoop, it's the thing where you crash off the side of Rainbow Road or whatever, and it's like, bring you back.
Yeah.
Don't have to wait for Lakitu or whatever.
Oh, I wonder if that's how they address that, because Lakitu's a playable character here.
Well, they've had him before and still had the like fishing Lakitu,
Okay.
so a lot of things remain to be seen. You know, we only race like on a handful of courses, but yeah, having that kind of Forza Rewind thing, and I saw Mike Drucker post about like, oh, you mean I get to do Forza Horizon, but I don't have to have some a-hole yelling at me about a music festival the entire time? It's like,
Perfect.
Thank God. Okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
Speaking about music festival, Dan, we did check out the Bowser Live. I forget what they're calling it.
Yeah, I think it was like Bowser Live, where he's like a game show host, which, look, I'm a big game show guy and I'm a big Mario Party guy.
Yes.
I think in that universe, you got to have like, you know, Wario in a sparkly jacket or something, like the Swinky Kong, you know, like that type of thing.
Yeah. So we tested out with the Switch 2 camera.
Yes.
And it worked surprisingly better than I thought it would.
For a $50 USB camera, it's like, it definitely has that like artifacting, like it's very much that zoom virtual background thing where it's like it kind of freaks out at times. Stuff like that. But the jankiness almost was endearing.
I know.
Because it does this stuff where it's like when he's introducing your teams and you come out of these pipes and you're just like in front of a bunch of polygonal like Koopa Troopas and stuff. You're just like flat Jan, just like you know, like it's very funny to see.
Yeah.
And then he like torched you at the end when he,
I know. It was impressive that it was able to cut out 4 separate players.
Yeah.
With one camera.
Yeah, and no one's gonna expect this to be like 4K quality, perfect, you know, cutting it. It works for like, I don't see this being a thing that happens a lot, but like, you know, the Xbox Live Vision camera would have stuff like, you're in the movies and stuff like that, or Kinect type stuff, or just kind of fun gimmick stuff. Yeah. And I think just putting that mode into an existing Mario Party game is probably the way to go with it.
100%. But Dan, one of the more impressive things that I think you showed off today is the different right Joy-Con functionality with Metroid Prime 4.
Yes, that was something I don't want to say skeptical about, I was just curious about how that would feel and work, the mouse stuff in general.
Yes.
And I've been playing a lot of Metroid Prime lately, and I appreciate it. I've always liked, like, they do some good gyro control stuff, and am I saying gyro? Gyro, sure, gyro. I always screw that up. With the Metroid Prime Remastered, so I was like, okay, how are we going to work that in with Joy-Cons? And granted, they had us set up in, like, the best, like, they had a big flat mouse pad surface, which, like, I don't know how many people are going to play Metroid that way.
Right.
But it bodes well for the mouse functionality overall for the system, because I was playing like left Joy-Con here, so left stick just doing normal kind of strafe, forward, back, left, right, and then I was doing the mouse, and it takes some getting used to, because the first time I held it, as I'm like doing like fast left or right, it would kind of tilt and I'd have to right it. Sure. And I realized you almost like had to kind of like pinch it a little bit, and that would keep it steady. Okay. And then you got to get used to, like, you know, you're jumping a lot in Metroid Prime, and the face buttons are facing out, so you almost have to get used to, like, it's almost like a gaming mouse with like buttons on the side, and you kind of have to like get used to that. But I did get used to it pretty quick, and like there's a fairly long, you know, boss fight at the end of that demo that requires you aiming at very specific weak points and stuff. And I was able to, like, you're strafing, you're dodging attacks, you're doing all this stuff, and you're aiming very specifically, and like it did great. Yeah. And then you talk about the different modes. Yes. The thing I thought was so cool was like, so I'm sitting there, I'm playing, which by the way, this was very different tonally Metroid-wise, because the Metroid is usually such a lonely, isolated, mysterious worlds and stuff. This demo, it felt like the old E3 demo of Halo 2 and like New Mombasa, where it's like just a war going on, there's ships coming in, explosions everywhere, there's like other troops and stuff, there's like a Samus-looking mech, and like a lot's going on. I assume it's just the intro, and we'll get, I'm sure we'll get to those isolated landscapes and stuff. But anyway, I was playing through that beginning, and I'm doing the mouse stuff, it's working great, and I'm like, is it gonna be smart enough to where like if I just pick it up, or will I have to switch control modes? Sure enough, I just picked up the mouse and started playing, like, you know, a Joy-Con in each hand, and it worked perfectly. It was great. And then, even then, there's another mode where it's like, if you do the aiming thing with ZL, then it's like Metroid Prime 3 for the Wii, where you're kind of aiming and shooting. It's not my favorite thing, that kind of Wii style, like, doesn't always feel that precise, but the fact that I was going between 3 different modes, and it was like absolutely seamlessly going between it all, very, very impressive. Yes.
And then, so that was Mario Kart, Mario Party,
Metroid. By the way, Metroid, 120 frames a second.
It looked gorgeous.
It looks so good. And that's the thing with Nintendo, is like they've never been the most powerful console on the block in many generations now, but their own stuff, like their first party stuff, they know how to make so good, and Metroid is the best looking game I played today.
Well, I'd argue with you, Dan, because I think Donkey Kong Bananza looked really, really good.
It is, and it's interesting because it's like weird in the way it looks, because it's like we're very used to the Mario art style, and we're very used to seeing like the old style Donkey Kong model existing in the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario Kart and stuff like that.
Right.
This is a different look. This is kind of like harkening back towards the old like animated like arcade art, you know, stuff like that, cabinet art. And it does look cool. Like I had to kind of get used to it, but I like it. But like even like the enemies in the world is just it doesn't. This is not a Mario game with Donkey Kong, you know,
inserted into it.
Exactly, and not just art style wise. I mean gameplay wise, because like. You know, it'd be easy to picture like a 3D Donkey Kong platformer being Mario. Like, it's really not. It's like you got a jump button, and then all 3 other face buttons are different smashes.
Punches.
So you've got your like horizontal smash, you've got your down smash, and you got your up smash. And all those matter because like you are digging. It's like Red Faction style, like making like tunnels and stuff. And there were so many times where I would just see a nondescript wall, and I'd go up and mess with it, and I'm like, oh. Now there's like this, inside a mountain, there's like a little river or a waterfall or something like that, and there's a hidden banana. So it seems to me that it's kind of like Mario Odyssey in that it's these areas, like the demo that we played was on one little island. It had a finite amount of bananas that were hidden and stuff like that. So it seems like one of those areas in Mario Odyssey where it's like, okay, I'm running around here, I'm going to try to find every banana. And like, here's some simple ones I just found underground. And here's a bigger one where I had to beat a big enemy and I got a bunch of bananas. Like 3, it's like the moons in Odyssey, you know?
And then the verticality, you could just like Hulk Ultimate Destruction style start climbing stuff.
It's totally that. And it's not like, I love being able to climb anything, so that's part of what I love in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. But you know, that's very stamina regulated, that's a big part of that game's systems. Here it's more arcadey, fast-paced fun, and so DK is just like bounding up this stuff, no stamina meter, doesn't seem like there's any like, oh, I'm about to fall off. You're just really like, the terrain in this game is so cool. And there was stuff where it's like, it's almost like in Control, you know, there was that button you could press to like just pick up something and throw, like a rock or something. So DK can do that. If you hit ZR, he'll pull up like a boulder, and you can throw it at enemies, do whatever. But then there were times too where I would like, there'd be a cliff face and I would throw the boulder at it and it would stick in it.
Oh,
like,
that's
I'm
cool.
making platforms in the cliff face. And I don't think I expected this level of like terrain adjustment and stuff. And you can even go in from the pause menu. You can just reset the terrain. So you could go into this area, destroy everything, and then suddenly you can't get up to this or whatever, and then you can like reset the terrain. I'm a huge sucker for that type of stuff, and I didn't expect that in a Donkey Kong game. You know?
No, out of all the things, I've never been the biggest Donkey Kong fan, but I think I'm a convert after seeing this.
Did you say convert?
I said convert.
You said convert.
I said convert.
Convert, you said?
Convert.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm giving you credit for that. He said convert. That was good.
Thank you.
That's very good. Shake my hand.
Bananza.
Yes, Bananza, yes.
And then, you know, the hardware itself, Dan, like, the magnets are really, really neat. There's like a release button.
It's like this little button lever, and it's like in this perfect spot where I don't think you would ever hit it accidentally.
No.
Because your fingers are up here on the L and ZL and stuff like that.
And it protrudes like in a different way also.
Yeah, so you kind of got to like wrap your finger around, but once you do, it so smoothly removes it. Snaps right back in, and then like it doesn't rattle, there's no like gap there. It's just like, it feels like a solid, like, in terms of just the feel of the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, that is the most obvious, like, oh, that's a huge step up, you know?
It is a little bit heftier. It's a little thicker. Not thicker, but like, the screen's a little bit bigger.
The screen's bigger. It is a little heavier, but like, I see that almost as a positive, because like, you know, like when you get your like Xbox Series, you know, whatever, you get the base controller, and then you hold the Elite controller, and it's like, well, yeah, it's heavier, but it almost just kind of feels like a less of a like plastic toy, you know? And this, it does feel more. It's not. I was gonna say akin to like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally or something, but it's like better than that because it's thin. It's got. It feels like it'll pack easily on the go, like a thin case, you know?
And then that's pretty much most of what we checked out today.
Soul Calibur 2.
Well, I was going to get to that because we also got to check out the GameCube controller. How did that feel?
Felt exactly like a GameCube controller, tiny little weird D-pad and all. They added the C button, they added like, because the GameCube controller was so weird, it just had that one Z button up here. But now you got like, I don't know if they named it SL, SR. That's another thing is I held the Pro Controller for Donkey Kong, and that has the back kind of paddle, which they call, I think, GL and GR.
Right. Yeah.
But then the Joy-Con grip was also on some of these stations, and even the Joy-Con grip has those like customizable paddle things.
It felt better too, overall.
Yeah. It's like smoother, and like I'm never going to use it because like I'm a Pro Controller guy or handheld. But for people that don't want to spend $80 on a Pro Controller, that's a very viable option.
Yeah, it's an option. Yeah, we checked out a little bit of the GameCube Virtual Console stuff.
It went straight to Soul Calibur, 8-on-8, team battle, random, Link. Yeah,
it looked perfect.
Aged perfectly, wonderful game still.
It seems you could switch between 4x3 and 16x9.
They said that. I think that has to happen we asked the guy, and he wasn't sure if you had to do that from before you launch a game. We didn't see a way, because with those not virtual console, the NSO type stuff, some of those, like in 64, I always had to remember, what's the combination to bring up the NSO menu?
Yeah.
So maybe there's just a thing there he didn't know about or something, but there is a way, he said, to make it 4x3 or 69, which GameCube had that progressive scan mode.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's actually, I hope it's not just stretching it out, I hope it's actually activating the emulator's progressive scan mode, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
And Dan, we're only a couple months away. June 5th.
Yeah, barely over 2 months.
God, well, I can't wait, Dan.
No, this is fantastic. This is there were some surprises there. We weren't able to play the FromSoft game.
No.
But it was a fascinating direct. There were definitely the things that people kind of understandably raised an eyebrow at.
Yeah.
There was some price stuff and all that. That's expensive games. So,
expensive games.
As far as the stuff we played here in this room, a lot of fun. I think Mario Kart's going to take over the world.
Oh, yeah.
If it didn't already, that's going to sell 1 billion copies.
It's going to take over the Mario Kart world.
There you go. You're full of it today, Jan.
I'm on fire.
Bananza.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. No.